Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Wealth Coffee Chat, Finance Friday. As always, I like to start off with a joke on Fridays because it's Friday. What do you call a financial planner who can play the piano? A key advisor. I wanted to say good evening to Kevin and good morning to Chris and Fritz. Thank you for joining me this morning. So today I actually wanted to have a conversation about how to actually prepare yourself for a loan application. Now, when it comes to lending, one of the biggest challenges that we find as brokers is the banks using living expenses and determining what living expenses are needed for the actual loan application. So what this means is that the banks require us as brokers to review your living expenses, and we actually have to verify it. Once we've gone through that process, the banks actually have another benchmark that they use, which is called HEMS. Now, this stands for Household Expenditure Measure. Now, if we verify your living expenses and it falls below HEMS, which is the benchmark that the banks will use, they will actually use that benchmark. Now, in the past, what they used to base it off is how many people in your family and your marital status. Since then, they've actually added the household income to actually determine the HEMS to use. So a family of 5, for example, and you were on a household income of say 150,000, your actual HEMS, the HEMS that the banks use will actually be lower than if your household income was 200,000. Now, a lot of it is based on what they define as the lifestyle based on your household income. So this means that a higher HEMS is actually being used for you and your family, regardless of what your spending habits are. Now, I've had many clients who are very, very good at managing their money, and they earn and they have a really high paying job. And I've had moments where I've gone through verified living expenses with the clients, and it is far below HEMS. Now, when it comes to lending, we actually have to bring that up so that it is in line with the bank's requirements when it comes to the lending side of things. I also find that the impact that this has, especially on successful small business owners, because for small business owners, we can look at all the different type of incomes that are available. So wages you pay yourself, and the company profit. Now, just from those two figures, you can see that you may not pay yourself the profit from your business. However, when it comes to borrowing, we have to add both of those incomes together, and then HEM gets calculated on that amount, not the actual wage that you're currently paying yourself and the funds that you're leaving inside your business. On top of that, most good business owners will have a lot of their expenses run through the business. Expenses like transport and communication, yet none of that is factored in to actually reduce HEMS. I'm not a big fan of HEMS. I would prefer that, if we are verifying living expenses, that if it's lower, we should be able to use that. And if it's higher, then naturally we would use that. When it comes to lending, what banks do is, if it's higher, they will use that. And if it's lower, they will use their benchmark based on those criteria that I've just gone through. Another thing to note is that there are certain expenses that do not actually fall into HEMS at all. Now, things like life insurance and private health insurance are actually added on top of HEMS. And again, this doesn't factor in so the lenders don't factor any of this in when they're looking at individual situations, because you could have life insurance and private health insurance and factor everything and factor all that into your budget, which means you're actually managing your budget, but the banks won't look at any of that. Another expense that has been actually added on top of HEMS in the last couple of years is the actual expenses for all your investment properties. So you can imagine that you earn a great income, you manage your expenses really well, and you take out insurance to look after your family and making sure that they are looked after should something happen to you. Yet all those things that you're doing is actually impacting how much you can actually borrow. And on top of that, if you're now, for those of us who are looking at acquiring investment properties to build a property portfolio to keep, to be able to achieve our wealth, that all gets factored in. Now, you can imagine if you've got multiple investment properties and each of the investment properties has its own expenses, that increases that increases your HEMS that the banks use because it's classified as a living expense and actually reduces how much you can actually borrow. Now, that's not to say all lenders do have that, but a lot of them have added that more recently. And so we've just got what we need to make sure is that you have a conversation with lenders to find out which lenders are available in the market that actually don't factor in the investment property expenses. Because how I feel is that the more successful you are, the more you get penalized and the less money they're actually lending you, even though you've shown that you've been able to not only save but actually build your wealth. So my hot tip for today is that get a detailed breakdown of your living expenses. Okay, whether you do that yourself or whether you go to a broker and actually get them to organize a living expense review. Now, there are a lot of softwares that we use which can go in and grab all the information from all your bank statements and put them in a nice Excel file that you can then go through and take a look at what your actual living expenses are. Now, once you're armed with that information and you're preparing for your loan application, you can make adjustments to your living expenses 3 months prior to you looking to apply for the loan. Because we can look at the previous 3 months and use that number as your living expense and put you in the best position to maximize your borrowing. The second thing I would recommend getting is a copy of your credit file. And a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about the credit file and what's in there. Get a copy of the credit file so you can actually see what the lenders also see. And you can anticipate any challenges or any roadblocks that the credit file can provide to the lenders, and have a talk to your broker to get that sorted out before we start submitting an application. Now, your broker can get you a copy of your credit file, and it actually won't impact your credit score. So it actually doesn't come up as a credit inquiry. So normally when you go to lenders and you ask for lending, there is a hit on your credit file, but brokers are able to access your credit file just so that they can see the information on there without impacting the credit score. That's all I have. I just wanted to shout out all those people who've joined me and said good morning. So good morning, Luke, Margaret, Laurie, Brad. Good to see you, mate. And good morning, Jeff. I'd just like to finish by saying, like and subscribe, and everybody have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all next week.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.